Look into Sobble's eyes. He's having a great time.
My Eevees are having a better time.
Mm.
Look at them smushing their faces. Sobble has just been traumatized living with you, and he looks like he's seen some shit. You just stroked his eyeball. You just stroked his eyeball.
Shush, Sobble.
Stop right there, criminal scum! Nobody breaks the law on my watch! I'm confiscating your stolen goods. Now pay your fine!
Welcome to One Flew Over the Side Quest, your place for philosophical gaming discussions, deep delves into specific games, and a little feud between an Irish lass and some British legend. With me, the host Ryan, and Spyro Swoon, Total Loon, the funny honey, mocks herself, wants to be an elf, raw, uncut, the big bad ginger nut. Welcome, Kayleigh, to our first ever YouTube of this. Anyway, so anybody who's listening, of course, you can go and check this out on Pixie Podcast on YouTube as well. Mm-hmm. And I do have to just start off before we continue with a brief apology about the fact that my father shouted up the stairs in the last podcast. And in my tired editing process, I didn't take it out, and I do apologise for that. But on we go.
Good old Trev.
There would be no such
making a cameo
this podcast.
No, but he was going to be the star of the show from now on.
That's it. Yeah, it won't be the same. Like, it'll be like a thing, like a gimmick on the podcast.
No, people want Trev now.
Yeah, that's it. Every week they're tuning in.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have, if anybody hasn't watched this before and you're just watching on YouTube for the first time, we have 3 segments, which is what's the story, and then it's deep discourse, and then it's Ryan versus Ginger Nut. So that's just for anybody who's new listening, or you're new watching or anything like that. And basically, what's the story is just what we've been up to playing lately, and then deep discourse is where we break down either a specific game or we go into like a philosophical gaming discussion, where like last week we done like what makes a game world immersive and stuff like that. And then we move on to Ryan vs Ginger Nut, in which I whoop Kayleigh's ass every week, and it's becoming quite the theme. As
I whooped your ass the first week.
2-1 up. That was a practice round and didn't count.
No.
But we have to count it anyway, which is where Kayleigh's only one ever will come from. So, what's the story, Kayleigh?
Mm-hmm. Every week it's going to be what's the story, and it's just going to be me being like, I'm mad at you.
Wow.
No. What have I been playing?
Obviously, other than Pokemon, because we will be in today's podcast we will be breaking down Pokemon Sword from the perspective of me, who is an utter noob, still am really in so many ways, even though I've put 40 hours into it now. And of course, Kayleigh, who has she put 40 hours in on the first day. So,
no, not the first day, but yeah. Well, apart from Pokemon, I played a lot of Pokemon. So, but apart from that, I played a lot of Stardew Valley.
Yes.
It's now my new comfort game. So it's just super chill, but it just gets really addicting really fast. Yeah. But like super chill, but you just don't see the hours go by. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm into like my second year in it, because you don't play Stardew.
No, I've never played Stardew, but I've watched it on streams, and I can see that. I'm not sure whether, like, obviously the only thing that I can even liken it to in any way is like kind of like I've had quite illustrious farms on Minecraft, where I've woken up every day and taken down all my crops and all that kind of stuff, and it's really given me like a real purpose to get up and get all it in, and then plant all the seeds again, wait for it to all grow again, all that kind of stuff. But obviously it has like the like melee mechanics and all that kind of stuff as well, doesn't it? Which is like gives it a bit of dynamic.
Yeah. I'm not good at that though. Oh, okay. I'm not good at the fighting. I'm like very much like, ooh, I'm a farmer. And then I go to the mine and I get my ass whooped. And then all of a sudden they've stolen all my money. And I'm like, oops. Wow. But it reminds me of, do you remember Farmville on Facebook?
Yeah.
It reminds me of that a lot.
Yeah, but like, obviously you're not tapping or clicking. I guess you can move around and stuff, which is cool. And
yeah, and you can like interact with the NPCs and like you can actually have relationships and you can get married and stuff like that,
which is cool.
Which has been that's how I spent my first few hours of the game being like, I'm gonna romance someone, and that's literally all I did.
Did you manage to complete your conquest of that person?
I have a girlfriend.
Oh, nice! That's sick.
Yeah, a nice redhead called Leah.
Nice.
I just don't know how to move her into my farm yet. So she's living in her little shack by the lake, and I'm like, why won't you move in with me?
And what's she like? I'm just not ready for that kind of commitment yet, or what? It's just a...
Yeah, well, we're in our second year here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so she needs to hurry up.
She needs to commit to the farm life.
Yeah, but I think...
Because you're not moving into the town.
No, but realistically, I think I need to, like, build an extension or something or get a kitchen. I don't know, I was trying to Google it earlier, and I think they were like, you need to get a kitchen so you can cook food, and then she'll move in, and I was like, nah. Sounds like a lot of work. If we go by my real life personality, that will never happen.
Yeah.
Because I don't like cooking.
The only thing that I think in regards to get slightly deeper about it is just that it seems to be nice for like anxiety. Like anytime you're sort of feeling anxious or feeling like, things are a bit too much to go on and stuff. I've had a couple of people who I know that play it just seem to go to it when things are particularly sort of high rate in real life.
Yeah. Because I was really hardcore into it when I was doing my exams. And I was like doing my thesis and stuff like that. And then I really completely like just dismissed it for a very long time especially when I got back onto The Witcher and stuff like that. And Pokemon, and then it's since I finished Pokemon, and I've been having a little bit of a stressful time lately, but I just picked it up again, and it's like it's a real comfort game. Yeah,
it's nice. It seems to be like it's all like processes, and you're in control of everything and everything like that, which is always really good in those kind of games.
Yeah, and it's really achievement based, so you kind of feel like you're actually getting stuff done, even though not in real life, but like you still feel like you're getting stuff done. You feel achieved. Like they have the achievement mechanics like really well down in that game.
So does it give you like daily tasks and stuff like that you got to get done? That used to like like a little checklist of things to do every day and stuff like that then it progresses, or what?
There kind of is. Like there is a little section for achievements and stuff, but I never really look in there. But like it's just little things like you have to like. Actually, there's like a building that you have to like collect these bundles. So you have to like say make a like top star turnip or something, and you have to put it in a bundle, and then you have to. I don't know, get a pumpkin and put it in a bundle, and then like when you get a full bundle you can get a prize and stuff like that, or you could collect a reward.
That's cool though.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then just like apart from that, you just have to look after your farm, because if you don't, like everything dies.
Yeah.
So like you have to water your plants, you have to like look after your chickens.
Like Farmville and stuff like that, is it you get certain crops that grow faster and all that kind of stuff. You got to keep an eye on that, like you're juggling those or spinning all those plates at the same time kind of thing. Yeah,
and then just like, and then the seasons change, and then you have different crops, and you have different you do fishing as well. So sometimes I liken it to Animal Crossing a little bit, where like the seasons change and you do fishing, and certain things are like can grow in like spring and certain things grow in winter. Actually no, nothing grows in winter. Certain things grow in summer.
Would you like potatoes grow in winter and stuff like that, or not?
No, I think I just went through winter and I couldn't really grow anything.
Oh, okay.
I was just tending
so it's quite
to
true to life in certain ways then, which is good.
Yeah. I was just tending to my chickens.
But in general, you are really enjoying it again and stuff like that.
Yes, I've named my chickens after the hobbits.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 3, so I think I have Frodo, Merry, and Pippin, and I have to get a 4th one and call it Sam.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, nice. That would be a cool little quartet to have, wouldn't it? Nice.
Yeah, and then I have 2 cows. What's the
farm called?
My farm?
Yeah.
I called it Lon Ranch after Ocarina of Time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because that's where you go and get a Epona in Ocarina of Time.
What are your cows called?
I call them Arwen and Eowyn.
Oh, nice, yeah. I was just saying, you're going to continue the Lord of the Rings theme.
Yeah.
I was thinking Legolas and Aragorn in my head. I was like, oh, but no, yeah.
Yeah, but they're cows, so they're girls.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, so you put it as... as Arwen. Is that right? Yes. Okay.
Arwen and Eowyn, yeah.
Arwen and Eowyn, that's it, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, that's all apart from Pokemon, isn't it, for you? Myself, obviously, I've just been diving into a little bit of Warzone, played a little bit of a chat from work, which was really nice, and we had a couple of wins on Rebirth, which is the one which isn't like the one that you're used to watching me play. It's still Battle Royale, but every time you die when you're with a teammate, they don't have to buy you back or anything. They just have to stay alive for 14 seconds or 20 seconds or something. And if they stay alive
for noobs.
if you stay alive for that time, you can come back in, which is really nice. And it's like really quick fire as well. It's like a tiny map and stuff, so it's not like Verdansk where you have to like run around for hours and hours and hours and stuff like that. Or you know, like spend a lot of time like traversal and all that kind of stuff, which is cool. But we won a couple of games, which was good fun.
Nice.
Which I really, really enjoyed, and I think it was just nice because it was like our first time really playing with each other, kind of thing as well, which is cool. It was just nice to sort of like settle everything down, we'll win, kind of thing. Although I was taking the mick out of him work the other day. I came in and like wrote it to him like, "Oh man, I got really sore back this morning," like, and then he was like, "Oh yeah," because I was like, but yeah,
wow.
So,
yes, and then I'm gonna tell him to go look at your streams. And
really, you're gonna cut me like that right now? You know, right when I'm just
you're gonna give him shit. I'm gonna give you shit because have you gotten number 1 on your streams yet?
No, I haven't yet.
No,
not until this point. But you know,
I was messing with the guys on Chart Select, and I was saying I was gonna start playing Warzone with them just to try and become better than you, just so that I could get a number 1, and you won't. Because by the time I get that good, you probably still wouldn't have gotten number 1.
This is unsolicited destruction of me, you know, right now, and I'm gutted. But you know, it's fine because it'll be you that I'm thinking of when that first win comes in. I'll be going, come on, yeah. I'll be giving it the big one after losing 199,000 times, but just that one win is all that matters, you know. After all
by that stage I will have like 5 or something. Like,
oh dear. The only other thing I've been playing, I play a little bit of Apex, but I won't go into that too much, but I'm still really enjoying that. It's really nice mechanics and stuff, and I managed to play it with Luke the other night, which was really nice. Always like be able to play with Luke as much as possible was always good fun. He was on his stream as well, twitch.tv/NRGRoberts for anybody who's watching. Anybody who's watching or listening, but mainly it was Firewatch that I completed, which was like a little 5-hour walking sim experience that is excellent. I really, really enjoyed it, and it just seemed to like compound on itself. There was times where it was like really full on, and like it was like heart wrenching at times because there's quite a lot of emotion to it, and the ending is quite full on and stuff like that. But like the general kind of gameplay of it is just like the story unfolds in a really cool way, and you end up finding out all these different things and secrets and stuff. And I won't ruin any of it because I think it'll be a game that you'd really enjoy. But it's like it's chill at points, but it's also like a psychological thriller at points as well, because you're out on this like working on this fire watch where you like, you know, look at the fires in like a big national park, which I think might be Yellowstone. I can't remember which one it is. And you look out over the distance, and there's like a fire. You got to keep like tabs on it if you see any new ones or anything like that. And you end up like having to go down and like deal with some people that are camping and stuff like that, because they shouldn't be making campfires because they might set fire to things, stuff like that, or whatever. And then it seems to just go be really weird because you end up being watched by someone, and like you see them in the distance and stuff, and it's really sketchy because you like see a guy, and you're like, you know, you're constantly talking to this like person you never meet, who's on like a walkie-talkie with you, who's your boss. And she ends up, you end up like just having loads and loads of like really witty, funny conversations with her all the time. And like he says, like you can like choose what you say to her as well, so it's like dialogue option based as well. So I'd be fascinated to see how it plays out if you choose different dialogue options and stuff like that. Which I'd be again interested to watch you play to see whether you found it out that way. But yeah. So you end up seeing this guy, and then he says, "Oh, like I chose the option like that was freaky," because he was like stood up on a hill like shining a torch at me, and then like, when I looked at him, he like ran away. And I was like, oh, this guy's like freaking me out. And she was like, ooh, you saw someone out in the wild, did you? No one ever sees anybody out in the wild, kind of thing, like trying to just like downplay it and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, like weird stuff just like keeps happening. Like you return back to your house and it's been broken into, and loads of your stuff's been taken, but you're not sure whether it's the fact that you told these people who were camping to piss off, or whether it was the fact that and it just like goes down that road. But like it gets worse and worse and more like psychologically full on, and you feel like you're being watched by the government, and then you like it just goes crazy because you end up finding a tape recording of your and her conversation, where they've been tapping into your radio wave and listening to you and all this kind of stuff. And it just goes like crazy. And it's just so amazing how it plays out. But the dialogue is like top notch. The voice acting is brilliant, and it's a really nice little experience. So anybody who's watching or listening, please just check out Firewatch. It's about 5 hours long. I paid about £13 for it, something like that, $13, €13, around that kind of area, and it's well worth the money. It's just like a little concise experience, and the developers deserve it, if anything, because that's the kind of games that I like to be made and stuff like that, because I think it's just fantastic, concise little experience, and it ends on such a perfect note of leaving you with enough questions, but not questions that you're like, oh my god, I need a sequel to find out, but actually just being like, oh wow, that was just a really amazing experience, and left me with loads of questions that I think would be ruined if there was ever a sequel or anything like that. I think that it just should be left as this kind of content little story that leaves you thinking, oh, what could have been, or I wonder what happened to him, or I wonder what happened to this, and I wonder how that played out, and all this kind of stuff. But the start's very emotionally hefty as well, and it's really, really good. But yes, Firewatch, super enjoyed it. But I will wrap up what's the story this week and move on to deep discourse, because we are probably going to be, this will be a reasonably long podcast, I can imagine, so buckle up, because we have a lot to say about what a game that's changed my perspective of an entire franchise, that's for sure. But we are going to be talking about Pokemon Sword from the perspective of Kayleigh, who's been a huge Pokemon fan her entire life, and me, who has never played a Pokemon game beforehand. I've never even played a Game Boy game or anything like that, and I barely knew anything other than like Gen 1 Pokemon, really, was the only thing I ever had experience with. And I certainly had never played the games, like the turn-based games at all, or any games for that matter. The closest thing I would have done to playing a Pokemon game would be playing as the Pokemon trainer in Smash Bros. Was probably the closest thing I've ever had to playing anything.
It's not the same.
No, certainly not. But
That's
just
not what I expected you to say.
Just to give a tiny bit of context, Kayleigh, just take us through your Pokemon history, because we'll just quickly run through my Pokemon history. Pokemon Sword. No, your turn.
Oh well, mine's a lot more extensive. So I played Pokemon Red and Yellow. I used to borrow my friend's Game Boy Color, and he would lend me Red and Yellow, so I completed both of them. Yeah. Then my dad got the Game Boy Advance, and I got Pokemon Ruby, so that was like, I always class that as my first ever Pokemon game that I owned. My favorite Pokemon game ever, and I feel like everyone's first Pokemon game always turns out to be their favorite.
Yeah.
So love that. Then obviously you went into the DS era.
Yeah.
You had like Diamond and Pearl, which I personally at the time didn't enjoy that much, but I'm more, and now it's actually because I my friend had like one of those cheat cards. And that was when I realized I cheated in a game for the first time and hated it.
Oh no.
It really just ruined the whole experience for me.
Yeah.
And I just ended up hating that that generation of Pokemon. But they're remaking that generation. That's going to be the next Pokemon game that comes out.
Cool. Yeah, so might revitalize that.
Yes. That's going to be a very unpopular opinion as well, because people love that generation, so don't come for me, please. Then Black and White came out, and I think they are potentially the best. They have the best storyline of any Pokemon game. And then they're the first Pokemon game that came out with sequels, so then they came out with Black and White 2, which I still think is a phenomenal storyline. They have my favorite character ever in it. His name is N. He's very complex, but I love him. Because I don't want to spoil anything, because I'm hoping that maybe one day you'll play these.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I got the bug, that's for sure. Like I'm keen to play more Pokemon. Big time.
Yeah. Then obviously 3DS came out, and you had X and Y, and that was really enjoyable. Really liked that. You moved on to, I think it was Sun and Moon after that, which I really enjoyed, but I just thought that storyline was like far too wacky. And then they had a weird alternate version of them called Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Yeah,
I've heard those.
And I just thought,
I've heard those names before.
Yeah. And I just thought it got too wacky after that. I just thought those were just far too wacky for me, and I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion too, but it just was so strange. It was such a strange game. Even though I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the mechanics, and I enjoyed the Pokemon that came with it, I just thought the storyline was just far too much.
Okay.
Obviously, apart from the main story games, I am obsessed with the GameCube games. So they were Pokemon Colosseum and Pokemon XD.
And you
they were
obviously are an avid collector of the cards, any kind of like pops, any kind of posters, anything, all Pokemon.
Yeah.
So basically, your entire you've played through the entire thing. There's not a Pokemon game apart from this one that you've missed, right? Not really.
Yeah, pretty much. Apart from I didn't have an N64, so I briefly played Pokemon Stadium and stuff like that. But and I have Pokemon Snap now.
Yeah, okay, cool. But in regards to like core Pokemon titles, you've played through them all and all that kind of stuff, which is great experience. So what I'm thinking is to construct this, because you are clearly far more well versed in Pokemon than I think I'll probably ever be, even if I go mental for it. That if I read to you or sort of list the things that I've written down, because I think it'd be nice to have some perspective from you on them anyway, as someone who's played the games, and whether my a very little amount of issues for this game or the things that I really love for this game are something that obviously I would have no clue whether there's something that would be new to this game and that haven't been in previous, so I might not like the other ones as much or whatever it might be. So I'm just going to run through, and then we can run through you after, and then I can give a bit of perspective of someone who hasn't played Pokemon games but certainly played this one, to see how you feel. So at any moment, stop, interject, go ahead and run with it. But I initially, the very first thing was that I've never ever played a Pokemon game before. I know that there is a huge franchise. I know it makes bucket tons of money. I know that there is a lot of expectation from my end of it being very good, because Pokemon seems to be like some kind of cult that is, if you've played it, then everyone goes, oh my god, yeah, like I played everything. Like if there's two people that know Pokemon, they just seem to just like two magnets attached to each other, and they love to talk about it, and there's such a, oh my god, you got a Pikachu or whatever. That's all the different things that seem to be about it. So I was like already apprehensive, and I came into this game thinking I wasn't going to like it. So I came in
intimidating
thinking,
though.
Oh yeah, for sure. I came in thinking I don't have a clue, even what's what, anything. I don't know like what Pokemon fight, what Pokemon I didn't even know the mechanics. I knew it was turn based because I've seen gameplay, but like I didn't know whether what it would be like. And I remember that one of the things that because I'm obviously always taking in loads of information from the industry and stuff, that's one of the things that people who are Pokemon fans seem to be really blown away by, was they were like, oh my god, you can see them in the grass, right? This apparently was something that was massive. I came into this game thinking, Christ, this game probably makes way more money than Breath of the Wild ever could, and it isn't as good graphically or mechanically as Breath of the Wild is or something like that. So when I came into it and I was like, oh, this is what people were excited about. This is only within my first 5 minutes playing this kind of thing. Like I was very like, I'm coming in bringing like a little bit of negativity, if I'm honest, towards it, because I'm feeling like left out. I've always felt left out of Pokemon. It's always been something that's never been anything to do with me, and I've always like struggled to relate to it. So like I brought that in, and I'm thinking, wow, this game looks so basic and so empty and soulless to begin with. It's only my first thoughts. Soulless, and there's nothing to it, and it just like I was like, wow, this is what they mean, but they're in the grass. Like I can literally see one Pokemon walking around in the grass, and then if I walk up to it, it takes me into a cutscene and all this kind of stuff. And even the background of the cutscene, I was like, this must be the cheapest game to develop for £60 I've ever seen in my life. I was like, there's like, I literally, there's only at this point, so don't go click.
I know that.
Don't go click and clean off the podcast now going, this guy's a fucking asshole. Like, I can't believe he's talking about Pokemon like this. This is
why I'm laughing, because as like a Pokemon fan, I'm like, I remember I started the exact opposite, as you said. Pokemon fans were like, wow, I was the exact same. I was like, oh my god, this is insane. Look how
so
like much it's improved.
Or whatever, So that was, for me, going into it, what I was expecting was a Breath of the Wild like art, like it's very similar in that art style, isn't it, of being like kind of vibrant and cartoony, and then there would be that level of detail in your environment, like if it rains and everything, that you see the waterfalls, the water drops falling properly and all this kind of stuff. But there was none of that, and I was just a bit like, oh, okay. So I came into it thinking this, and then all of a sudden, in one fell swoop, in one moment, this game changed the course of my history to being a Pokemon fan, I believe, for probably the rest of my life now. And that was when I'm sat there, I'm reading through this text. Even the fact that it didn't have dialogue was something that was like, I was like, wow, they didn't even have dialogue in this game. I thought it would at least be voice acted. Like, this is where I am at this point. And then all of a sudden, they plop these 3 little Pokemon in front of me. And I'm like, oh wow, I get to choose one. And it's mine. and I can keep it. Oh my god, it's like my little baby. And then I'm like looking through them, and then this little blue legend looks up at me, and I'm like, oh, I want to have him, because I always like, if anyone had to ask me what my favorite Pokemon was, it was always Squirtle. Like, I really like Squirtle. I think it just looks cool, and I remember watching him in the cartoons and stuff. So it was the only one I seemed to really find any kind of attachment to. So I went for the water Pokemon, and then that just completely changed my whole life. Then, because immediately, without any like, it just seemed to just completely change my whole perspective. And that's the first thing I've got written down, is just my attachment to Sobble. So Sobble, who I called Mizu because Kayleigh helped me out and said that I said I wanted to call it a cool name, and what's water in Japanese, and she said Mizu, and that's why I called him Mizu. So if I refer to Sobble as Mizu, that's because I called him that, but I didn't give any nicknames to any other Pokemon. But
I was the same with mine. I only nicknamed my Grookey.
I had this immediate and sudden attachment to this little Pokemon, and I was like I must have finished my first session. I'm already on Amazon. Like, I'm like looking at little Sobble toys and doing all these little things. I'm like, oh, he's such a little dude and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, oh man, like, he's so cool. He's like my little guy, my little backup, my little sidekick, all this kind of stuff. And then obviously I'm starting to catch these other Pokemon, all this kind of stuff, which is great. And then like, it then fed into this like collection addiction, and this is I think is the same with everybody that plays Pokemon. You get addicted to this kind of like, oh, I don't have that, I want that, and oh, I don't want it. So it's exactly the same as any collector of coins or anything else. They're checking the back of the coins, going, wow, I haven't got that one, I want to grab this, it's mine now, and that goes into my collection, which is a great mechanic because it just feeds a human need to collect things. That I think, like, just all be that any possessions at all, that humans just have this inbuilt need to, I think, to just be like, oh, that's mine. I get to keep that now, and I get to put it in the corner, and it's mine. Albeit whether it's your monitor or whether it's a toy or whether it's whatever it is, and it really like fed into this part of me that I hadn't really felt before, apart from in like looter shooters and stuff like that, where like it was like, oh, I really want to open the boxes, I really want to like collect more guns and see what it's like, all this kind of stuff, like in Destiny and stuff like that. But
I think they do a better job in this game at making you want to collect more Pokemon.
Okay.
Compared to other games, because I felt that too. And it was the first time in other Pokemon games, I was very much like, the earlier I caught Pokemon, the more attached I got to them. And I didn't want to swap them out for newer Pokemon because I was like, oh, these are my loyal Pokemon, I don't want to get rid of them. Where in this game, I had less attachment to those Pokemon because I just wanted to catch so many. Yep. Which was really unusual. Like, I changed out my starter Pokemon. Like, I know you love Mizu, and Mizu's your diehard, ride or die. Mizu's your little bro. But I got rid of my Grookey. I got him all fully evolved, and I was like, no, he can go, because it's just so easy to catch other Pokemon. That's actually a point later that I'll go into anyway. But this game particularly does a really, really good job of making you really want to catch them all.
Yeah, for sure. And that's just where like immediately it fed into me then, and I was just like, every Pokemon I saw, I was like, oh, I don't have that one. And that but as the game progressed, that became less of an importance to me, but it was my gateway drug into the game. It was like it got me in, and it got me addicted, and it got me wanting to run into every blade of grass I saw if something looked a little different, and go, oh, I haven't seen that before, let's go fight it, and let's go see this. And it got me thinking these like, or feeling these feelings that like I caught myself thinking, who am I? I'm Mr. I don't care about Pokemon, and I've just made something faint instead of grabbing it, and I'm angry about it. I'm like, no, Mizu, don't knock him out, bud. I need to get him like a little tiny bit of red health, mate. Or I'm grabbing one and I've gone a little bit gung ho, and I've not knocked his health down enough, and he's popped back out the Pokeball, and I'm like, oh my god, because like I know this is weird for you because you've never, like, you must have experienced this so many times and throughout all the Pokemon games. But for me, like the first ever time I had a Pokemon fly out the Pokemon ball, I was like, oh, he's back out, like what's going on, and all this stuff. For me, it was just like totally crazy. But
I'm very much like, oh, sweet summer child.
Yes, yeah, for sure. This is where my
you don't know the hardships of the older games where literally like some of the Pokemon were just impossible.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, this game was a lot easier to catch Pokemon.
So I another thing I've got written down is just how relaxing it is. It was nice for me, who's been going from Ghost of Tsushima and story heavy games to Warzone and like stressful online shooters and stuff like that. Good stress, don't worry, but stress nonetheless.
Debatable.
Depending on where you finish. But going from that to a game where like I'm just walking around and I feel like everything's just a nice pace. Like it was always just like Hop would always say to me like, dude, I'm running ahead, you do you, meet me there. And that was just really nice for me to not just be like, like constantly like, oh my god, because I think in certain scenarios, like with games like even as like The Witcher or something like that's a perfect example of an RPG, because I guess this is an RPG that like Geralt's main mission is actually for me like something you just want to run after constantly, and that of course I've done all the side missions anyway, but I think like sometimes it's just a bit like, oh, why am I helping a woman with a pan when Ciri's in danger, that kind of thing. But that never felt like the case in Pokemon. It just felt really measured and really like well paced, and everything was really nice and all that kind of stuff. And it didn't feel like I was like, oh no, the world's going to end if I stop and look for these Pokemon. It almost like they gave me this thing to like be like, go ahead and just like walk around and check out these wild areas and go and do these different things. But yes, so relaxing, a challenging learning curve. So of course this is where I was Kayleigh's young Padawan, who would often call her and say, what do I do? And this again is a testament to my lack of knowledge. I would say, how do I beat a skunk? Or how do I beat whatever it was? I'm sure you can think at the top of your head of some of the ones I've said or whatever that I've tried.
No, you'd ring me and you'd be like, oh, I'm facing a hedgehog, what do I do? And I'm like, what does that mean? What are you talking about? And you're like, red frog, what is it? What do I do? I'm like, I don't know, what's its name? And you never gave the names. You were just like making descriptions. And you're like, pigeon? I was like,
yeah, and then Kayleigh dealt with these really well and ended up telling me most of the time how to defeat these different things. And then I, throughout the game, managed to learn things myself, like if you switch your Pokemon, which I only learned probably in the last 2 hours of the game, which really bothered me, was when I switched Pokemon, I didn't have to guess which one would be the best, and actually next to each one of their attacks it says whether it's effective or not, which I didn't realise till the last 2 hours of the game, which I was like, wow, if I'd have known this the whole way through, I would have had a lot less fainted Pokemon. But Kayleigh really helped me out, and I could lean on you for knowledge and stuff like that, and it's so interesting to me. It's like just for a learning curve as someone who's never experienced this before, that fire's good against grass and electric's really good against water. So I'm like putting Mizu out, and I'm just like, Mizu's been knocked clean out by like a little mouse that's got a little tail, and I'm like, what's going on? This makes no sense. He's well hard. And then you were like, oh yeah, it's because they're electric, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? It's just so crazy for me. They're like there's these intricacies to it, and there's a way to play it. There's a lot more tactics to it than I thought there was. I thought it was just like the Machamp, for example, would be your man because he's a big hard Pokemon that you put out and he's the biggest and hardest one. But actually, if you put him against certain types, doesn't matter what size they are, it's the thing. And I guess I seem to remember it in the cartoon as well. Now I think back to it, of like Squirrel just ruining a Charizard just because he was. Yeah. I think that's really early in the cartoons, isn't it? That like Squirrel just ruins Charizard because it's just the type differences. Which I just think is a great mechanic for a game, and I like the fact that it's got these different things that you can add into it, and I guess it's that kind of like the learning curve's really, really good in it, I think.
Yeah. Can we just take a quick break just to say that I don't know if you got this, but anytime you used a move that was special effect against Hop, he used to have this little cutscene being like, "Ooh, I knew you'd learn like type advantages every single battle."
Yeah, like, and I just, ooh, I knew you'd do a super effective move against me or whatever.
Yeah, and I was like, Hop, I was like, we're literally like about to fight the champion. Of course, I figured this out now. And I was like, I like every single time he did that, I raged. Sorry, that was just my little interjection because.
Okay. Well, literally, like I say, far away the whole time. So I really enjoyed the learning curve. I really enjoyed like learning different things. I felt like I'm really proud of myself via your praise that I ended up like learning different things, and you were like, oh no, you actually done really well then, and all that kind of stuff. We battled outside of it and stuff like that, and you were like, oh, you've like learned dig, and then that stops me from attacking, and like you used the right Pokemon against me at the right times, and I retracted Mizu at certain times, like because I knew how to do that then. But like I know this will probably sound crazy to like Julock if you're listening, but like to me this was just totally new, mate. Like I never knew that like retracting my Sobble rather than making him fight to the end against someone he's no good at is an option, and all these different things. It's really interesting to like go through that for me, and I really liked it.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing I'm gonna say is you're gonna have a really big shock going back to the older games, because this game, and this is one point I'm gonna always make, is I think this game for a Pokemon game is too easy.
Yeah.
Even the fact that they put beside the moves that like, oh, this is super effective and this is like effective.
So you would have to do that just
anything.
off memory, would you?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
From all the earlier games. Maybe not the last one. I can't remember if Sun and Moon did it, but all the other games you just have to know these things.
That could ruin me then, I guess, because
Yeah, but I think you're gonna have a good foundation now to go back. Yeah. But when you were a 4-year-old child and trying to learn, like I feel proud now thinking back on it, but seeing how easy it is now and being like, how the hell did I do that when I was like 3 or 4?
Yeah. That's mad, isn't it?
Where you literally like, and you didn't have colors or anything, don't forget either, to like even be like, oh well, red means fire, so blue against red. It was literally just like,
just try. It's all about failing and learning, I guess, at that point.
Yeah,
which is good. But for me, who tends to play things on easy, the difficulty level for me was really good. But I did right at the end. Even though I really like easy games, it was probably a little bit too easy for me. Because come the end, I was just trashing people. Like the governor or whatever he was called, I just trashed him. I just like ended that guy. And that felt like
the chairman.
Fight.
He's the chairman.
The chairman.
You called him the Prime Minister yesterday.
yeah, that guy. The way this scene like narratively is constructed is like, holy shit.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like big boss man.
Yeah, and then I just like completely ruined him, and he was like, "Oh, thanks for coming." So art style, I really liked the art style. Really endearing, really colourful and vibrant and happy. It was just really good, even when I was getting nailed at certain times or whatever. Which again, with the easy difficulty level, wasn't very often. But even when I got lost Pokemon and stuff like that, it was never like stressful for me. And like, I like the fact that it was just every time I play Pokemon now, even as we speak, I'm getting a bit of a hankering to just be like, oh, I wish I could just go play Pokemon for a bit and just relax and just train my Pokemon up and do all these different things, which I really really enjoy. I'm not sure, like I say, whether if I went back to older games that difficulty would hinder me and make me not enjoy it, but I wonder whether just because I learned things, whether I'd see that as a challenge and want to complete it. But yes, the other thing was I've only got 3 more things, which is team construction. I enjoyed building a team. You did trade me a couple of really good ones, which really helped. Lucario and Ghastly, or what's it called?
Gengar.
Oh
no, Gengar.
Yeah,
and
Gengar.
Arcanine.
And Arcanine was my
was
my main man. He was beast the entire time. But yeah, so I got those, and I just like the fact that at the end, come the final thing, like it brings out the same main menu, and it like pans across your team. And I felt like such a sense of ownership and like, yeah, and that's the guys that got me there. And I remember that, Arcanine was there when we beat this person and Arcanine there, and then going through all the gym leaders and all these different things, and like how good they were for me at different times. And like when I went down to the double battles and I used to like throw out Arcanine and Mizu and be like, got a double whammy of the fire and the water and stuff, was just like fascinating and fantastic and stuff like that. The training grind I liked. I like the fact that up until a certain level, which was like 40, 50-ish, beforehand, when you would like level up, it would say, oh, you can only Pokemon will only listen to you to a certain level and all these different things, which of course I didn't know about. But I liked going through that. I thought that was good, like a little mechanic of being like, oh, before I get to the next gym, I better train up because otherwise I might get beat, which I probably shouldn't have, because I probably would have had more of a challenge when I went to them and stuff like that. And then I thought the story was pretty good. I thought it done enough. If it was any more dramatic or any more like emotionally full on, it wouldn't have fit, because I'm guessing these games aren't meant to be, gut wrenching at any points. I'm not sure whether I'm only going off what I know. And it was all right. I thought it was pretty decent. I'd say that what this game to sum up my whole thing before I let loose on it as someone who is well versed, is it has changed my perspective on the entire franchise. I really am interested now to play Pokemon. Not Pokemon Snap. I wouldn't go that far, but
you're gonna change your mind. You're gonna change. Mind you, I haven't played it yet. I own it, but like you'll change your mind because you're gonna.
I'm certainly keen to play like Eevee, for example, and always like let's go Eevee and stuff like that, which I'm really excited for now to play. And I'm also wanting to play like the expansion packs of this and stuff like that. I look forward to all this different stuff, and it's for me, it's just made me hooked. And as mad as it seems, there was just this moment that dawned on me about 2 days ago where I was like, I think this might be in my top 10 games ever.
Really?
I was like, I really, really fucking like this game. Like, I really enjoy myself when I'm having it. And I know that, like, there's many things that factor into, like, my top 10 and why I like them have been, like, you know, great game or great narrative or how it makes me feel and all this kind of stuff. But, you know, at the end of the day, it is about how it makes me feel. And this game just makes me feel happy. It makes me feel like I'm having fun. Every time I load it up, the music and everything, and when it was just doing that, like, every time I was like, yeah, let's go. I was like, fucking gym battle, woo. I was like absolutely loving life, you know. But yeah, you know, that's it. Just
that was just really good. It was like really perfect.
But for me, it was just it was a really like nice experience. It was nice to get off and running in the franchise, and like I say, I think it might have eked itself into my top 10 games of all time as how much I love it. But yes.
Also, I'm going to apologise for looking very shocked a second ago because my granny's like lights just flashed on and I went, oh. So, segueing into my part, I got spotlights.
Okay, so Kayleigh, take us through some of your notes. Oh no, actually, the only other thing I've got written down is I just thought it was simple, and I think that's just something I'll reiterate. Is that for a game that is a flagship franchise for Nintendo, I just thought it, like, detail-wise and stuff, graphically and all this kind of stuff, like, they could have made the grass look better. They could have made the graphics look more like Breath of the Wild level. You know,
some of the graphics are pretty bad, like, for
you know
what
I mean?
it is.
For such a huge game that they're selling at such a huge price, and they're selling 2 types of the game.
Yes. Because there are parts where, like, it's very, like, glistening looking or, like, see-through or holographic, kind of, and you're just kind of like, that looks a bit off, but when you do expect it to look like Breath of the Wild. But, I really liked the storyline for what it was. I thought the pacing was really, really good. Which is never something I think in the older Pokemon games there was always a struggle because it was always a lot harder, so you would never progress in the storyline quite quickly because it was so hard. You had to train your Pokemon up. You had to then spend a lot more time training because your experience points didn't go up as quick. You didn't encounter Pokemon as high a level as you do in this game. It's very, very like area focused, where this game is completely different because you have the wild area, and in different areas, no matter what level you're at, you are exposed to really high level Pokemon, so you can go and face them. Where in other games, it's kind of rare that you can expose yourself to higher level Pokemon. I did like the story. I think it wasn't too heavy, and I think it was a nice change from the last game, which was Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Because as I said before, I personally just thought that was too wacky. It went too full on. It was very emotional at times too. And it wasn't even those parts that I minded. There was just parts that it just went very strange. So I feel like they dialed that back, and I really enjoyed it.
That was a good move from them, kind of thing.
The only thing I will say is I think some of the characters have a lot to be desired. So there's some characters like I really like I liked Marnie and I liked Sonia as characters, but cool. they didn't really delve as deep as I would have liked into their backstory. Especially Marnie, because I feel like they gear her up to have a crazy kind of backstory, especially with Team Yell. And it's like very surface level. There's not much to it. And then you have Hop, and I just think he's potentially the worst rival in any Pokemon game. Although I could be wrong, and I could just not be thinking of one off the top of my head, but I just think he's a really bad rival. I think it's interesting because nearly all the other rivals are all very cocky, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to beat you, and this is the first time that, like,
so they would be more like Bede or whatever. Is that what the older rivals were like? No.
I don't even know if I want to talk about him. He annoys me. But yeah, they would be a lot more cocky. It depended on the game, really. Like, there's some really stuck up dudes, like really, really stuck up, like really sure of themselves, and then you have other guys
to make you want to beat them.
Yes.
Rather than I just felt bad being Hot.
Yeah, and then you saw his self-confidence drop, and you're just like, oh. And then after a certain time, he was like, like at some point he was like, oh, I lost to the gym leader. Yeah. And I was like, what? I was like, you're supposed to be my rival. Mm-hmm. Like, he's supposed to equal you.
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, they were trying to, like, create a bit of a deeper emotional level to it, but I just don't feel like they got it properly because he just ended up being annoying.
Yes, he was annoying as fuck. Every time I saw him, I was like, you know, he was like that friend that you have in school that's just like too friendly, and you're just always just like, oh, you know, like you see him when you go into Tesco or something, you're like, just try and dive into an aisle or something to try and avoid
terrible. We don't condone that on this podcast, but yeah, he was just not like, especially for how the storyline went, and he's supposed to be your equal, and you're supposed to kind of save the world together. If you think about Red and Blue, the very first Pokemon games, which are, so you have Red as the main character who is like Ash's counterpart, and then you have Blue who's supposed to be Gary's counterpart in it.
Right.
They're like legit just on the same page. They're really good. They're so good that they're the like top 2 trainers.
Yeah,
in the
but
whole
what
world,
it felt like, and I don't know whether you mirror this, what it felt like to me was it was like, right, I'm a total boss. I've smashed everyone to pieces. Mm-hmm. And when the moment came that I went to pick up the sword, it just felt like Hop was like, oh, I'll just pick up the shield. May as well, whilst I'm here. Rather than being like it was a thing, his destiny or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm like, sorry, Hop, you were not great. BD, I don't even know. I don't know if I want to talk about him because I feel like he never redeemed himself.
No.
He just ended up having to dress up in pink, and then
it was like, it was nice, wasn't it, to begin with, because it was like, it was cast out. He was cast out by the person or whatever, and then was found by the fairy lady, and it was like, oh, that's like a nice ending for him. That he gets to go off and be like this, and then all of a sudden he just interjects, doesn't he? And you have to fight him again.
Yeah, and then he's giving out about her, and instead of like normally what would happen is like he'd be like, oh, I realized that I was being a total dick, and you know, she's shown me a new path, and that's great, I'll walk down this path. And he was just like, oh, he was almost like, oh, she's emotionally manipulating me into being a gym leader, and I'm wearing pink and I hate it. And I was just like, what is this dude, like, why are we here? But yeah, I also felt Leon as a champion wasn't a great champion. There was just so much of like, for how strong you come across as like, you're just whipping people left, right, and center, and then every time you get to a part of the storyline, Leon's like, "Don't worry about it, I'll sort it," and then he just runs off, and you're kind of like, "I've literally just whipped everyone. Why am I being left in the dark?" And you never get treated that way, really. I don't think in the other games, not to my memory, anyway.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it just didn't add up, but. For the most part, I really like the storyline. I don't think, personally, I would play it again.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
I think it was an experience I really enjoyed when I did it, but
Would it be in your top 5 Pokemon games?
Oh. I'm gonna go with no.
Okay.
And if it is, it would be very, like, it'd be low. Yeah, like it would be 5th or something. It would be just barely there. I really enjoyed it for what it was.
And obviously this is just me speaking from, obviously we were playing at the same time, conversing a lot during it.
Yeah.
And you just seem to really enjoy playing it, and you seem to really enjoy yourself when you were playing it as well. So that obviously factors into it massively.
Yeah, for how it made me feel, it was amazing. And I think that's another reason why I wouldn't play it again, because I know I wouldn't be feeling the same way.
Yeah, because it's not that, oh, what's around the corner? It's like, oh, I know what's happening.
Yeah, but it's done now, and I feel like it was very heavily story-based, compared to, say, Pokemon Ruby, which I'm very biased towards that game, but I could play that over and over and over and over.
Oh, okay.
And not get bored. The same with the first games. Like, there's been so many Kanto remakes, like first-gen remakes, and I'd play them every time. Even when they brought out, like, Let's Go Eevee, and people were skeptical, because that's also, the mechanics are a lot easier than the original games. I still played that.
Yeah.
Because they were just genuinely really good storylines. I really liked the Pokemon.
Yep.
I just really like the progression.
I thought some of the Pokemon were just naff. Like, I don't know whether the ice cream one was new or not. Was that in any previous games?
The ice cream one, yeah, he was a previous gen. So
oh my god, like some of them were just like you know, it just felt like they were trolling me. It felt like whoever makes them was just trolling me and being like, how obviously similar can I get to what this is? Like that Trashmon or whatever it was that was like called like
Garbodor or Trubbish.
Yeah, that's it. Trubbish. It's just like, oh guys, come on.
Yeah, that was from previous gens. So there's been a few gens where it's like really just people are like, why did you even make this?
It's like they have like an imagination barrier or something. It's really terrible. Like, because like Grimmar and Muck make sense because it's like alluding to what they are, and I think Muck is walking a fine line of being, you know, what he is. But like, I think some of them are just like, you know, it's like calling it, you know, if it's a seagull, calling it like Schmeagull or something, you know, and it's just like, well, why are you calling it that? Why are you not calling it something like, you know, because they don't just call Pikachu Yellow Mouse.
Yeah, but no, in fairness, in the first generation, they literally had a seal called Seal. So it's not something new, really.
Cool. All right.
They just have they have moments of greatness where they're like, we've made this amazing Pokemon that everyone's gonna love, and then they have moments of like, we're gonna give you Trubbish.
Yeah.
And you're just like, who likes Trubbish? I'm afraid that we're gonna offend someone that really likes Trubbish. To the podcast.
Huge Trubbish fan out there, like, sat there looking at their Trubbish, you know, little plushie right now, going like, wow, you know.
I don't know if they've even made a Trubbish plushie. I mean, let's be real. Like, I've been in many Pokemon centers in my time, and I've never seen a Trubbish plushie. So I'm like. Then again, everyone gave shit to Diglets, and my baby cousin is obsessed with Diglets. She just loves Diglets, and she has over 100 Diglett Pokemon cards.
Cool.
And I was like, I don't know if I'm proud or ashamed, really. No, that's not true. I'm not ashamed of it. But I do want to bring up Dynamaxing.
Okay.
Because that never happened before.
Oh, didn't it? Okay.
No. So
it's very Yu-Gi-Oh! Or is that just me thinking that it's similar? You know?
It just felt like they were like, we have to do something. We have to make them Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
And mind you, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So when they first announced it, and I was watching the trailers for it, I was like, this is just ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. You're literally just making them huge. And I still think it's ridiculous, but I enjoy it when I'm playing it, and I like Dynamaxing, and it's more the fact that you have to think tactically about it, and you have like 3 turns.
You only have 3 turns, and but it was a little bit kind of wait till the last Pokemon every time, rather than be able to use it like at the start or something. Or
you don't really like have it. Yeah, like it's like you had a choice, but they were very much like, oh, you never knew when they were like. I would prefer if they were like, oh, you never know when they're going to Dynamax, and then you're like, oh crap, I need to figure it out. But you just
Dynamaxes should have been a little bit more hard hitting. Because there was just times where like someone Dynamax with something that was like, you know, let's say I guess it's grass Pokemon, isn't it? That's not good against Arcanine. But they would just like hit Arcanine and it would just go like, oh, it wasn't very effective. And I was just like, oh, these things like their attack should be like wiping out your average Pokemon. What it should be is 3 straight feints, shouldn't it, for their attacks? Unless you Dynamax back, you know, it should be a Dynamax off effectively.
It should. There was times where I enjoyed it, and especially at the start, because I also think the music for the Dynamaxing was insane. It was so good. It was like really, really cool.
The score and the music throughout this entire game, I have to just interject and say, is absolutely fantastic. The entire time.
I love it.
There was like the relaxing music, the chill music in between, the battle music just normally, but also just especially the stadium music before even you Dynamax is always super dope, and then it goes even like more to the next level. It has all the crowd going like
it was really, really good.
It's like so cool. It like makes you feel like something epic's happening, and especially when you like throw a massive Pokeball up and you're like. It's like going absolutely nuts, you know.
But I found like it was really epic at the start and stuff, and you're like, ooh, I'm actually excited for this. It wasn't as trash as I thought it was going to be, but then later on I found I was just like, this is just taking up time, like having to wait for them to Dynamax, having to wait for me to Dynamax, and then they're finally throwing a hit and it's just taking 5 times longer, and for not that hard hitting for what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, so I see what you're saying. That like I remember thinking in the last couple of battles, like I've Dynamax now, and I've got to wait for him because it's his last Pokemon. I know it's his last Pokemon to say, "Ooh, this is my last Pokemon. I'm gonna Dynamax." So it's a bit like, yeah, I know this is gonna happen, dude. Like, let's get it over and done with, you know.
Yes. So in previous games, and I can't remember when they brought it in. I'm pretty sure it was when they brought in. When they remade Ruby and Sapphire. I could be wrong on this.
Dynamaxing was brought in?
No, they had Mega Evolutions.
Okay.
And this is what it's heavily based off of, because there was Mega Evolutions, and I remember at the time when Mega Evolutions came into it, people were giving out, they were complaining about it, and they're like, this is too much, but I actually quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was like, and I know some people really liked the Mega Evolutions, and they continued it for a few games, that there was Mega Evolutions, so you had only certain Pokemon can Mega Evolve, and it was certain starters. So I was really happy that Sceptile could evolve, because Sceptile is one of my favorite Pokemon, and he looked so sick in a Mega Evolution that two of my best friends, Eric and Gavin, they bought me a Mega Sceptile plushie.
Oh, cool.
And like all the way from Japan, and I was like, oh yay! Nice. And some of the Mega Evolutions just look really sick, and some of their moves and stuff were really cool. And then I was a bit disappointed they just completely wiped it off as if it didn't exist in this game.
Okay.
And then they got Dynamaxing, and I was like, okay. And sometimes I feel like the Dynamaxing stuff, even though it was explained to a degree, it's a little bit like, I still don't really understand what's going on.
No, I never understood what was going on, really. It was like, I don't know, a star dropped and it kind of made stuff happen.
Yeah. So they didn't really go into great detail the way they would have in other games. Some other things, like, even though I loved the wild area, I think that was a really cool concept, because you could just do so much, and you could just see so many different Pokemon. You're exposed to so many more than you ever would be in other games, because every other game, you say it was literally like a trail around a map.
Yeah, like you're on train tracks. Yeah.
Yes. And you can only catch specific Pokemon in specific areas, but you couldn't get to, say, like the Fire Island until like you were nearly at your like 7th or 8th gym badge in the first game. Actually, I think it was the last badge, but where in this one you were exposed to all sorts. So you can always have different types on your team, where when you start off in a lot of the games, say you only have a normal type Pokemon in your starter, or you have a flying type Pokemon and a normal type Pokemon, and you don't really have that much of a type variety. So this was really good. But at the same time, I'm juggling between, it's really good and it's too easy. Then I think in this game, even though there's the wild area, there's some towns I never went back to after I beat the gym.
Yeah, same.
Like that really, really cool foresty one.
Yeah.
With the mushrooms.
That's beautiful looking, but I never
it was gorgeous. It was so nice. And then there was no reason to ever go back.
No.
Which is so unusual.
Is that unusual for a Pokemon game, is it? To not go back?
Yeah, I always found like I would go back to areas to catch certain Pokemon and stuff like that. But because you had the wild area, you hadn't really, like, I know there's little areas in between towns and stuff, but like realistically I never went back to them. And there wasn't as much stuff to find. I found, like, you didn't find as many Pokeballs and stuff, because I think they're trying to make it that you get the watts from the wild area, and then you spend the watts and you buy the new Pokemon moves, like the TMs and stuff. Where in the old Pokemon games you used to have to find them specifically. Cool. So I just thought, I was kind of like, oh my god, you made all this map. And then literally had one purpose. And then you moved on and never saw it again. And it was like, let me think. I think it was interesting. Team Yell, I'm a little bit like, I don't know if I like what they did, where they didn't make it a really deep concept. So in every single Pokemon game, you have a bad team. So you have Team Rocket in the first game.
Team Rocket,
they come back in the second game, and there's an ultimate mission, where they want to take over the world. They want to have all the Pokemon, all the really strong Pokemon. They want to take over the world. In Pokemon Ruby, you have two teams that are fighting against each other, but they're still both evil, because one wants to take, and I don't understand this, but one wants to completely cover the earth in water, and the other one wants to completely drown or get rid of the earth, or get rid of the sea. Which I'm like, doesn't make sense.
But Team Yell didn't have that primary objective in the same way. They were just supporters.
They were literally just like
Like a
stockies
fan
for
club.
Marnie.
Yeah, like a fan club.
All the other ones had global like incentives to like take over the world, and then literally Team Yell were like, "Oh, we want Marnie to win. Oh, we're so sad she didn't win. Oh, Marnie." And I was like, "Is that it?"
Mm.
But at the same time, I think it was like very chill. So I was a little bit like, "Okay, at least we don't have these like."
Do you think that perhaps with those other ones that there's not, with how, I don't know, there was a big scope to this story, like it was quite like let's say it's going to affect the whole world, you know, with this Dynamaxing and why it's happening and all these different things that are going on and how to stop it from happening, which apparently is by killing something, but like you know, without going too spoilery, but like, not that even if I went spoilery it would make any sense, but like it like, is it that if you'd have added that objective, it would have overcrowded it? So they needed Team Yell to be what they were, kind of thing.
Yeah, because normally in the game, the bad team are normally the reason why the world is going to come to an end.
Yeah.
Where this was very unusual that it wasn't the case. But it was okay. Like, I was like, as I said, I'm kind of on the fence of it. Like, oh, like I wouldn't have liked it, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, I don't know if it's just my diehard like Pokemon fan in me is being like, oh, but that's what the teams should be.
Yeah.
So yes, but like as I said, and I keep reiterating that.
As a whole, like, what would you describe as a like a veteran Pokemon player, as a master Pokemon collector and everything else? What would you sort of summarize the game as, especially if you've got someone else listening who's, you know, played a bit of Pokemon, might not have crossed the void? Like, if you were talking to yourself before you played this game, what would you have said to yourself about it to either sell it or to not sell it or whatever, like, just to like sort of wrap up your entire experience with it? Like, because again, like, you know, for me, I could do that with a Call of Duty game now, for example, because I played so many of them, I know them all so well, so I could be like, look, if you like this one, then it's going to appeal to you or whatever. Like, is it like you're like, just sort of to wrap up all your points and sort of the good and the bad, like, you know, what does like Pokemon Sword mean to you? You know,
I think if you want a chill game that's not too emotionally heavy and you're really into catching Pokemon, this is a really good game for you, because there's a lot of other games where that's not as realistic. You can't catch them all. You can't catch them easily.
Yeah.
And I found like this was like, I just found this was very, very chill.
Yeah.
It was enjoyably chill.
That's something for me that I'm just a little bit concerned with now, after this conversation, where I'm like, oh, I'm not so sure, because I really found this so therapeutic and so like, yeah, I enjoyed it so much, had so much fun and stuff, that like there wasn't that level of difficulty, because, you know, even like with games of Breath of the Wild and stuff like that, like when I come and play them, like I really enjoy Breath of the Wild, it makes me happy playing it and stuff like that, but there is just times where I'm just getting like destroyed by something, or things aren't going well or whatever, rather than this just felt like it was like everything's easy, everything's cool, everything's like, you know.
I felt like this game didn't give me as much of a sense of achievement. I enjoyed the process of it, but I didn't feel as fulfilled ending the game.
Yes.
Compared to other games. Like even the like beating Leon, I was just like, that didn't seem like a championship match to me. Where in the other games, like especially the first few, you do the gyms, you do your 8 gyms, and then you go to the Elite Four. You have the 4 trainers that are supposed to be the best of the best, and you literally are like, oh my god, these are the best of the best. I'm getting absolutely annihilated. Like even to the point that between your gym challenges in Sword, you get to heal up.
Oh yeah.
In the Elite Four, in other games, you have
to take them all on, do you?
Once you enter the door, you can't go back.
Oh my god!
Unless you progress further, or unless you faint all your Pokemon, you have to have all your potions, you have to all your revives. Your whole party have to like survive those 4 matches, and then the champion.
Yeah, that's
without healing.
Yeah, that's insane.
You know, but you feel so achieved afterwards.
Yeah. Cool.
You're like, oh my god, I really beat the game and I really worked hard for it, and like you put in the blood, sweat and tears to get your Pokemon up to that level.
But the process of it, the going from A to B, the journey, you would say perhaps in comparison to other Pokemon games was better.
Yeah, for a chill experience, I think as As someone, I think this would be a great game for people that haven't played Pokemon for the first time, like you especially.
Exactly.
You felt that way.
I'm a prime example of that. Yeah.
And I felt it was great for a chill game.
Yeah. As a hardcore Pokemon fan, which is it's such an interesting perspective to have on this, you know.
Yeah, but you know, I would go back to other Pokemon games and really grind.
Are you interested in playing the DLC, or do you not have as much of a calling to it?
The which one?
The DLC for this one. Do you have a calling
the DLC?
To it?
I want to.
Yeah. But it's not like it's not like a thirst. It's not like I have to do this as soon as possible.
And I think it's because you haven't played the post-game story. Mm-hmm. Which, look, it's not that long and it's not that important realistically, but it's a bit ridiculous, and it turned me off, the DLC. And it's not that it turned me off, but it just I think if I had rolled credits and bought the DLC straight away, I would have been like, yeah, let's go. But then I played that post game.
Oh, so maybe that would change my perspective a little bit. But at the moment, like, I'm chomping at the bit to do it. But
I was the exact same. I was the exact same until I played that last bit, and I was a bit like, this got a bit ridiculous really fast, and it was unnecessary.
I'll try and update next week whether that would be different for me. But yeah, so in total, you just say it's like a chilled Pokemon experience and something that's...
I wouldn't say I have a huge emotional attachment to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really like in me, is that my party Pokemon, I don't have that much of an emotional attachment to. I do to my Sceptile that Shulock gave me, and I have to give a shout out to Shulock because he traded me a Sceptile, and I was like, "Way!" And I always have a Sceptile and an Espeon in my party, and I love them. But other than that,
their attachment comes from previous games.
Yes,
you know. So, but for me, like Sobble, I would be gutted if I couldn't have a Sobble again in the next one. And I think when I go back, I'll be like missing the fact that I can't have a Sobble and stuff like that. You know, because it's like that is something that I'm really specifically attached to. But yeah, I mean, just to wrap up this conversation, I guess it's just that it's been really fantastic being able to listen to your points of view, which has changed like my perspective on what I expect going forward and what I've been through, and how interesting it is for me to be able to listen to you and your perspectives on it, because it was like you're more in limbo, I'd say, with the game than you would be in like, you know, really enthusiastic or really pissed off. You know, you're not really like you're not particularly wildly emotional about it in any way, shape, or form. But like with me, like I'm like buzzing. Like I say, like it's almost like eked itself into my top 10 games all the time, because I'm just like, I love this so much. And I think anything that you play always seems to just like it's really interesting, because it matters where you are in your life and what's going on in your life and all these different things. Because like I'm sure that like the first time I played Florence was so full on for me, because at that time I was going through a breakup and all these different things, so like it really like emotionally impacted me, rather than if I played it at a different point I might not have enjoyed it as much. But like for sure, like I needed Pokemon now, and I really enjoyed it, and thank you to you for showing me and making me want to play it, because you're so into Pokemon yourself. And it wasn't as if I was like, oh, I have to play it. It was just that you were just like, you should give it a go, you should give it a try, like you have with Okami and these other games, just like I am trying to do with you with The Last of Us and Horizon and all these different games, which I think just anybody who's gamer friends with anyone and always like, oh, I'll play the games I love, because I get a vicariousness from it, because I can never experience them again for the first time. But like you were loving it when I was like, oh my god, I've done this, and oh my god, I've done that, you know.
Yeah, it was so much fun. It was so much fun to see like the emotion in it. And then I have to bring up, like, playing against other people has always been a part of Pokemon. Like, whether it be back in the day where you had the Game Boy and you had to literally have a cable and put the cable into your two Game Boys just so you could have a battle. Like, it always makes it, like, me and Chulok was my first battle, and like he absolutely whooped me, but it was great. It was still fun. And then me and you obviously had a few battles, even though you weren't very happy about you losing. But
the first battle mind was horrendous, because
your Pokemon weren't even fully evolved. And now I do have to say, I put the levels at level 50 just to try and make it fair, but it wasn't fair.
But you completely destroyed me in the first one, and it was just like, wow, this is just like ridiculous. But in the second one, I did enjoy it more, and I look forward to battling you again and battling Chulok and all these different things. I think it'd be really fun.
But I just have to say before like you finish up, and I know you're gonna find the other Pokemon games quite difficult, but I think, because you like emotional games and you get emotionally attached to things, I think, and I don't know, maybe you won't, because I'm also a lot older than when I played these, but I got a very like very emotionally attached to the storylines of the older games.
Okay, well, I'd be interested to see whether that would be the case. Would that be the case with Pokemon Eevee then? Do you think?
You might. I think they dumbed that down a little bit, but it's the same storyline. It's the same storyline as the first
that's the
ever.
Thing is that I have to stress that I don't particularly give a fuck about any of the actual characters in the story. Even Sonya and stuff, like some of the ones I liked a bit more. Marnie. I'm like, if I never saw Marnie again in a Pokemon, I wouldn't be upset. You know,
yeah,
like
that's true.
rather than like for me it was the Pokemon experience that I enjoyed. It was the collecting, it was the battling, it was the league, it was all these different things. But the individual characters like almost just like sort of tertiary to that for me. But yes,
yeah, like even if you play the first game, like you'll probably get more attached to like the gym leaders and stuff like that. And even though you don't experience them that much, it's just I don't know, you just feel more attached to them. And then even in the later Pokemon games, there's just certain characters I can pinpoint that I'm like, I love that character.
Oh, okay.
I really, really love that character.
To see if I attach myself, if I play those in the same way, which I'd be certainly interested to do. But yes, we do need to wrap up the deep discourse because I don't want to fret on for too long. But it's super, super interesting conversation, and I think that like. Again, it would be interesting perhaps to revisit Pokemon after I played like Eevee or something like that, or you know, just to revisit at different times. It will be that whether it's just in our What's the Story or whether it's in like a middle section again for a deep discourse, something like that, like maybe comparing Pokemon to another game or something like that I've played or whatever it might be. But yeah, again, thank you for letting me or opening the door to me and being so helpful to me, because I think I would have struggled if I didn't have you to lean on for your experience and stuff, because I just would have been like, oh well, I'm lost, and it would have just frustrated me and stuff. So it was really nice to have that. But yeah, and also thank you to Luke for letting me borrow Pokemon Sword, because you're a legend, mate.
Yeah, but give yourself a lot of credit too, because there was a lot of stuff that I thought you get stuck on that you didn't, and you pushed through. So
yeah, sure. But I really enjoyed it. But this has been Deep Discourse for this week. Of course, if you're still here, if you're still listening, we still have one more segment to go, which is Rye versus Ginger Nut. So, as I look around, I'm looking for my phone because Kayleigh has sent me a photo. So,
yes,
we'll have to trash through this. So, Kayleigh has devised a Guess Who for Pokemon, which I shall, for everybody on YouTube, try and flash on the screen now. If not, for anybody listening, it is a plethora of different Pokemon characters and stuff like that.
Both Pokemon and trainers.
And trainers, yeah, it's Pokemon and trainers. And I am already struggling to think of half of their names. But yes, we will.
I deliberately picked them because I was like, oh, he'd know these. This is why I messaged you earlier and I was like, give me Pokemon names.
And you also have one duplicate in there.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Oh, okay. No worries. I didn't know whether he was like...
No, that was a mistake. Just
no
Professor Oak is so amazing he got in there twice.
Okay, Professor Oak is his name. That's good to know. Okay, so this is how Pokemon not savvy I am. So how would you want to play it? We'll go me first, then you, and then you first, then me. We'll just do best of 3, yeah?
Okay.
So first to 2.
Right.
But we're doing it in how many questions it takes us to answer? Okay.
Yeah.
So you go then, and I have picked one.
You've picked one? Okay. Are you a human?
No.
Okay. Are you... Actually, I'll write this down. A water type?
Yes.
Are you Mizu?
Nope.
Crap.
I'm Magikarp.
You're not supposed to tell me.
Oh, why?
You're supposed to keep guessing.
Oh. I thought once you guess, that's it. Should we say that once you've guessed, that's it? You just got to take your guess? No,
because the whole idea is how many questions that you ask, and you're supposed to, whoever gets the quickest.
Alright, so that took you... I'm just gonna say that's 0 for you for that one. And then... Okay, we'll start again. Should we start again?
I'm sorry to everyone watching.
Do you want to...
Right. I'm going to pick one.
Excited.
I'm going to...
I got so excited. I was like, ooh, she didn't get it. And I was like, you know...
Like, I was like...
I'm sorry.
Magikarp.
Yes. You got it in. How many questions was that? 4?
Just don't.
Okay.
Right, I've picked someone.
Okay. Are you Are you a human?
No.
Okay. Are you orange?
No.
Ooh. Are you Wooloo?
Yeah.
Yes.
What the heck?
So how many questions was that? Did you keep track?
3.
3 questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my first one. Your first one now. Okay, I've picked.
Are you a Pokemon?
Nope.
Do you have orange hair?
Nope.
Are you a girl?
Nope. So we'll say that I won this one now then, because this will have to be your 4th question, yeah? So I won the first round. Yeah? You can still try and guess who it is.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I've won this round, yeah? Is that how we're playing it, yeah? So I answered less questions.
I'm just rolling with it, to be honest. But yes, we'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Okay.
Are you Professor Oak because he's there twice?
No. Are you there twice?
Crap. Are you Hop?
Yes.
Oh, I knew I hated Hop.
So 5 or 6 questions was that? Anyway, it's 1-0 to me. So if I win this, it's over. If not, it's 1-1. We go to the next one. So you pick one.
Okay.
Okay. Are you a girl?
Nope.
Are you a guy?
No.
Are you lying to me?
I don't know what the gender of the Pokemon are, so...
Oh, no, I mean human.
Oh, whoops, I just gave you a hint.
Okay. Are you Meowth?
Nope.
Oof. Are you Squirtle?
No.
Oh dear. This is not looking good for me. Are you Rookidee?
No. You're not even asking characteristics. You're just like, are you this? Are you that? Are you this?
Are you Snorlax?
No.
Oh, I give up then. Right, so you're definitely...
No, you can't just give up. No, keep going.
Are you Arcanine?
No, because what if realistically I end up asking that many questions? You have to keep going.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Are you the little dog thing that looks like Alfie?
No.
Okay. Are you Mewtwo? Jesus.
No.
Oh my god, what are you then? Mizu?
No.
I've fucked this right up. Are you Wooloo again?
No.
Okay, so now I literally have 1 to go, surely.
2, 3,
Magikarp. Are you Magikarp?
Yes, I am Magikarp.
Wow.
Hold on. I feel like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guesses. I'm like, I think I should count that as like 2 rounds worth of like guesses.
So I had 11 guesses, and you have to guess mine. Okay, go.
Mm-hmm. Are you a Pokemon?
Yep.
That's my granny's phone.
Carry on.
What did you say? No?
No, yes, I'm a Pokemon.
You are a Pokemon.
Yep.
Are you a water type?
No.
Are you Snorlax?
Nope.
Meow?
Yes.
I forgot to write down.
That was in 6 questions, I think. 5 or 6 anyway, but you won that round, so it's 1-1. This is the final now.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember, everybody who's watching and listening, I'm not sure how this is going to seem listening, so I will adhere to that, but I may try and edit in me saying who the Pokemon are.
Okay.
That we have or whatever. But, of course, if you're watching, I'll probably put up like a photo of this or something like that. Okay. But overall, anyway, it is 2-1 to me. I'm 2-1 in Ginger Nut versus Ryan's at the moment, as of the last podcast that we've done together. So, I have...
No, you're not 2-1. It's 1-1, isn't it?
I have picked.
We've only done
I have picked. It's 2-1, definitely. I've written it down in the last podcast.
Thought we were one off. We'll have to edit this back in later when I think of it. You've picked. Are you a Pokemon?
Yes. Gamble. Go for it. Go on. Just gamble. Just do it.
Are you a Yamper?
Nope. Just start plucking them out of thin air. Just go for it. You're on 3 questions already.
Are you Fluffy?
Nope. 4. Keep going.
Are you Mizu?
No. 5. Come on. Okay. Let's go.
I don't like this. I already asked where you... No, I didn't.
You're on 5 questions. No pressure. But if
Are you Rookity?
Nope. Ha 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 ha. Oh, your face speaks 1,000 words of frustration. Number 6. You're on now. No pressure, because of course I'm feeling easy breezy. I can pick what I want next time.
Mewtwo?
Yes, Mewtwo. So 7 questions. So all I've got to do is get whatever you are now in less than 7 questions, yes? Mm-hmm. And I've won. Okay, so pick.
Okay.
Are you Ash's ginger friend?
No.
Okay. Are you matey who's there twice?
No.
Okay, that's 2. Are you her from Team Yell? Marnie?
No.
Oof, that's 3. Are you the water champion?
No.
Okay, might have to. That's 4 now. I've got to start. Are you a Pokemon?
No.
Ooh, are you Sonia?
No.
Oh my god, that's 6. So if I get this, it's a draw. If not, I've lost. Who? Are you the woman who dealt with the governor? Oh no! Are you Ash?
No.
Who else is there? Pop.
No!
Who else is there? Oh, Leon. Oh no.
I'm in!
Oh no.
You were so confident as well. You were just like, go on, just go for it. Just take the plunge, do it. Ha. That's what you get for goading me.
Wow, okay, so that's 2-2 now in Ryan versus Ginger Nut history. That's gutting. Or it's 2-1 if you're that skeptical. I can see the skepticism in your face. I'm not sure.
We've only done 2 podcasts before this,
I thought we'd done 3. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We need to wrap things up.
We did Florence and we did the environment one.
Yeah. Okay, so it's 1-1. So perhaps it's 2-1 to you.
I'm winning. I'm winning.
Perhaps it's 2-1. If it is, it's all.
So perhaps I'm winning.
Unconfirmed. It's all unconfirmed. But yes, we will be back not next week, but the week after, I believe. Next week maybe Pixie Partner out. The week after will be us again. I can imagine. Yeah. So you'll see us anyway again on YouTube. On
I will be this like happy too because
any podcast service
winner.
Okay. Thank you again for listening to another Pixie Gaming podcast, whichever one it was you chose to listen to today. We are Pixie Podcast on Twitter, Pixie Podcast on Instagram, Pixie Gaming Podcast on Facebook, and Pixie Gaming Podcast on YouTube. And our website is www.pixiepodcast.co.uk. Thank you so much for listening. You're all a bunch of legends. And here's a little outro music. So enjoy.